Are you ready?
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions.
I was right.
Let's go!
I'm the best.
And here are your hosts, Jessica Town and Rob Lange.
You're a jackass.
Embrace the madness.
There we go. What is up, everybody? Welcome into another episode of The Madness. What are we at, 121? 121. I am Rob Lange. She is Jessica Town. Our man Dennis is producing here at DETV in Wilmington, Delaware. And let me start it off by saying this. I hope everyone out there is being safe and healthy, and we're facing things that we're not used to facing in this country right now and all over the world. So hopefully...
Wash your freaking hands.
Oh, you've heard Jess's opinion. Jess's opinion is wash your hands.
It's
we all
really-
agree. We all agree. So hopefully.
In simplest terms, wash your hands.
Yeah.
In simplest terms, wash your hands.
I mean, it's a good
And
point.
if you even have the slightest sniffle, stay in your home and do not leave, because it's just going to cause more panic than anything else.
I have to thank you.
Why?
For something. You. And I
Me?
haven't told you this on purpose because I wanted to
Oh,
thank
boy.
you face-to-face and personally for this. So obviously, everyone's saying when you're washing your hands, warm water. So, what is it? Sing the ABCs twice?
Happy birthday twice.
Or happy birthday twice.
I
Excuse
know
me.
where you're going with
And Jess just and and it was like one of those days where I just it wasn't like I was doing anything remotely productive. I was just scrolling through Twitter, and Jess, just to let everyone know, hey, if you don't want to sing happy birthday twice, Fly Eagles Fly is a 30-second song. Jess, I swear to you that every time I am in the bathroom washing my hands now,
You're singing the Eagles fight
I
song.
sing Fly Eagles Fly to
Same.
myself. I sing it out loud a little bit.
out loud.
I had Ariana washing her hands the other day, and I sang it with her, and
There you
she
go.
didn't know what the hell I was doing.
Yep.
But I want to thank you because I would have lost my mind if I had to sing Happy Birthday twice.
There was a BuzzFeed article it was like 19 songs that have choruses that are 20 seconds or longer that
Yeah.
you can sing while washing
Yeah.
your hands. But then I was like, that's not fun.
No.
Let me find
This
one
has
that's
been
fun.
so much more fun.
And it's a little bit longer, so if you
I've
you
realized
go
I
a
could
little
stop
bit
washing.
fast-
I could stop washing right around the last Fly Eagles Fly into the EAGLES chant. So it's been really wonderful for me. It's kind of changed my life. So I want to thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
I appreciate that because I really just looked that up one day and I was like, oh my God. Because it was like 38 seconds with the intro. And I was
Yes.
like, this is gold. And
Well-
I told my parents, and then I got a video like 10 minutes later from my mom. She set up her phone and was washing her hands and
Singing it
the
at the
Eagles
top
fight
of her
song.
lungs.
I was like,
And look,
yes.
and obviously we're making light of a serious situation
Oh,
because
it's
that's really
terrible.
all we can do right
There's
now.
nothing else you can
We don't have enough information and whatever it may be, and we hope that this comes to an end sooner rather than later. You're watching it. We are a sports show. You're watching it affect sports. Ivy League tournament canceled. Big West tournament canceled.
Yeah.
They just announced that the first four that are played in Dayton, Ohio to start the NCAA tournament that Monday and Tuesday, or Tuesday and Wednesday, will be played with 0 spectators. Golden State is playing with 0 spectators for the foreseeable future. And you're gonna keep hearing more and more stories
I
like
just
this.
think everyone needs to be really careful to do their part. And the biggest thing is going to be doing your part. And, we all have friends and family in the medical field that we've talked to and asked questions. And, no one really has any definite answers. But the best thing that everybody can do, that everyone seems to agree on, is do your part, wash your hands, don't go in spots with big crowds. And, it's...
Yeah, and it's unfortunate.
It's unfortunate because I know it's about other things, like the Flyers game last night.
Yeah.
Like everyone was like, "Oh, we're going," and it's like, well, you shouldn't go, but I also get it because you spent the money on tickets. They're not cheap,
Yes.
and the Wells Fargo Center's not going to refund people.
Right.
So it's like, it's easier said than done. But you hope that everyone can do their part to work together to try to get through this.
Well, you hope the leadership at the top starts telling people, "Hey, we have to start doing it," instead of kind of leaving it to chance and leaving it up to people. Like, I think eventually, if this thing continues to get worse, which it's showing signs of,
it's going to get worse before it gets better.
That you're going to have to take more precautionary steps, and they're going to have to almost. I know it's hard to mandate anything, but when it comes to going to a sporting event, you can very easily mandate that.
Yeah.
You can very easily mandate that.
And it's also, at the same time, like, for healthy individuals like you and I, being able to wash your hands, use hand sanitizer, don't touch your face, and, making sure you're taking those precautions, for you and I, it's going to be a minor cold. And if, God forbid, symptoms do take effect, you kind of stay at home, let it run its course, quarantine yourself. And then, but, the worst part is you don't know
the unknown right
now. The unknown, but also who it can come into contact with and where you were. And there might be someone near you, when you're trying to tough it out.
Right.
That's
why I hate the whole, like, I know the symptoms are flu-like and all, but I hate the whole, well, the flu kills it. This is not the flu, guys. It's just not. It's a different thing. There's no vaccine. There's very little knowledge on this thing. No one fully knows what this virus is going to do.
But there is some truth to the media handling it poorly and still using it for clicks, because a lot of times if you see, like today, coronavirus claims first fatality in New Jersey, and you click on it, and it's a person who was over 70 with pre-existing
and
health
they had a heart
conditions.
attack.
And you're like, okay. So they're creating even more panic and paranoia than I think needs to be. There should absolutely be precautions taken, and everyone should take those seriously. But you can't overdo it, and you can't underdo it.
No,
But you have to try to keep your mind straight.
Well, we need some transparency too.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the problem from everybody, top to bottom. We're not getting enough transparency anywhere. That's frustrating.
If you kind of look at the situation in China, it was about 10 weeks before it kind of started to. So we have about 8 weeks left. So it is going to get worse before it gets better. But everyone does need to do their part to try to keep themselves healthy and do your part to protect your older immune deficient counterparts, because you don't know, and if you think you have it, call a doctor if your symptoms aren't that bad, so you're not overriding the hospitals when they are people who really have bad symptoms that need the attention. Like, it's a whole lot of things that you know.
And we're not going to talk, but there's no way you could do anything that goes out to the public and just pretend like this isn't here. We had to say something about it.
There's too much going on.
And it does affect the sports world, which is what we talk
absolutely.
about.
I really I'm hoping that it, we can handle it, and
I'm hoping within the next month, when the warm weather starts to come.
I can't wait to never hear the word coronavirus again.
I was just saying, you can't say never hear corona again.
No, but I can't wait.
There was a really poor,
not here.
So someone sent a message, and they said, just trying to put a little humor on a situation in South Jersey. And I feel like it was kind of like, it did make me giggle. And I know people are going to be like, how dare you? But what the hell? Sometimes all you got is humor. And it said they really hope the coronavirus is gone before summer, because in South Jonah? What's South Jonah?
Not sure.
I don't know. In South Jersey and all over, when Lyme disease comes back, now you're going to have corona with Lyme. Get it? See what I did there?
Oh,
it's an ultimate dad joke.
They're also going to have to go through a hell of a rebranding.
Well, you heard that they had spent
Their sales have plummeted.
But they had, right before this all broke, they had already put into surface for their seltzers.
Oh, yeah.
And it was...
I didn't even know they existed.
And it was Corona seltzers coming ashore. And this was when the disease... And it was like they couldn't pull it. Like, it was out. Like, people had seen it. And it was like, talk about what would have been a great slogan 4 months ago is gone now. Like, and you have already... And they spent millions on this, to put it out and all this stuff. I mean, it was out... I was, like, looking at it going, oh... and this is part of the problem with our society, that there's 37% of people out there who have been polled saying that they believe if they drink Corona that they're going to get the coronavirus. That's not true, people.
But I think that really kind of encompasses like the biggest problem that we are having right now. No, For all some people know, like, Corona beer gives you the coronavirus. You know what I mean? Like, that's where we are right now with this, and that's what kind of makes it scary.
Yeah.
And
then you have sickos out there who put out ways to combat this in ways that are going to hurt your body, and it's like, come on, dude, just chill out.
Yeah,
but,
so, I mean, we've got, do-it-yourself hand sanitizer recipes, ordered some on Amazon, have our antibacterial soap in the freezer stocked in case something goes wrong. We have to stay in the apartment for 2 weeks.
And do shop right from home. Don't go to the supermarket. It's cesspools.
I went with gloves.
Did you really?
Mm-hmm. They also have a lot of extra, like, Purell wipes.
Yeah.
That you can buy.
I went in the one day to get one thing, and it was just like, I'm not doing
And
this
they
again.
also, like, the people that were working there were walking around. They were, like, cleaning off all the carts and stuff with the Purell wipes. And
Sorry, I'm receiving 205. Oh.
What'd you do? What did you do?
No, it's all about flights in May if we get to go.
Yeah. So instead, I want to get a puppy. That's like what it's come down to. If we're not going to be able to go to California in the summer, like, I just want to get a puppy instead. Like, now. What are your thoughts on that?
A pup? Yeah, I saw that. Don't do it.
Why?
And I'll tell you why.
You're the only person to me that has said today not to do it.
I love having. I planned on picking him up on the way. Maybe since he reports to Tommy, he could just go in for a few hours in the a.m.
What are you talking about right now?
Can't call out. This is what they're doing. I said, guys, I'm in my show, and they've now asked me 3 more questions.
Do you want to see the picture of the puppy that I really
You
like?
literally have already got a picture of the puppy?
Well, I was just looking at puppies that are available near me. Look at its little paws. Look at the color of its paws. Do you see the color of its paws?
Let me tell you.
They're like little spotted. They're so cute. And then, okay, after you tell me this, can we talk about sports? Because that's the only reason I'm here.
Yes.
I'm not just here.
Yeah. You're not here to talk about your dog?
No.
It's amazing the freedom that you lose by just having a puppy. You're going to have kids at some point.
Yes.
There will be no freedom then.
Yes.
Enjoy your freedom now.
My mom just said, I said don't do it.
Yeah. Enjoy your freedom now.
Uh-huh.
Enjoy your life with Joe.
Mm-hmm.
And here's what I would do. Once you become pregnant down the line, get the dog then. Because you're already losing your freedom.
Yeah, but that sounds like you can't even enjoy the time with the dog.
Hey,
Because
that's
you have
9
a child
months.
going on.
It's 9 months. You have 9 months to enjoy with the dog.
Okay, whatever. Sports.
Sports.
Can we talk about sports?
All right, we're going to talk about sports. We have Sixers, we have Flyers, we have Eagles free agency a week away. We are firm believers that anything the Eagles do will happen before or after our show next week.
Yes.
Nothing will happen while we're on the air.
No.
We'll sit here the whole time thinking something will happen.
Yes.
Nothing will go down. We'll get off the air, and 45 minutes later, the Eagles will make a blockbuster move and trade Zach Ertz or do something astronomical.
They will. It's exactly what's going to happen. But I hope it's, they pay Byron Jones all of the monies and get him here. I hope that's what it is.
Are we on board that we want this?
Oh, yeah. Pay him.
Okay.
Give him all the money.
Well, we're not going to talk a lot of Eagles, so let's just do this right now because it's so funny to me the way our fans act.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they really are using the logic, well, Byron Maxwell and Nnamdi Asomugha didn't work out, so we can't do this one. Or the other logic, anytime we sign a former Dallas Cowboy, that really, just stop. And stop with this money. As I put it out on Twitter, I don't care how much my team spends. Those guys know a lot more about the salary cap and what they can and can't do than me. I love my team to spend as much money as they humanly possibly can to give me a winner.
Yes.
So
not spending ridiculous money on someone that sucks that everyone agrees
But Byron
sucks.
Jones is a pretty good corner in this league, and I think he'd be a major. And people are saying, I'd rather give the $15 million to Jalen Mills a year. I love Jalen Mills. The guy.
I love
I'm not giving him $15 million
I love him
a
to
year.
death, and I want him back here.
Yeah.
But
not
I
at
do
$15
not
million.
want him back for $15 million.
No.
$5 million I do a year.
Yeah,
I do
$5
$5
million a
million
year.
for Jalen.
I'm getting a little nervous, though, Jess.
Why?
Because me and you sat here a few weeks ago, and when we were discussing the offseason of the Eagles, we talked about how much of a necessity Malcolm Jenkins is at that defense. And everything that they are saying, and I know they say one thing, they do another, but everything
really?
they
The
are
Eagles?
saying
No.
and everything you're hearing is making me nervous about Malcolm Jenkins being back here.
I have just learned at this point that
To just let it happen.
I'm just going to let
Yeah.
it. I can't. Between the 4 teams in Philadelphia, I physically cannot.
Hate all of them?
No, I cannot be bothered with concerning myself about things that I don't know are or are not happening. Like, if it gets to the time and there's no deal done with Malcolm and there's no conversation about it and he starts holding out, that's when I worry. That's when I start my worry. But right now, it's like the JT Realmuto thing. Like, he's playing for the Phillies this season. Right. Am I going to concern myself about a long-term deal being done until October? No. Am I going to sit here and really worry about it? No.
No. I just mean, if they allow Malcolm Jenkins to walk out the door, to me, the season's shot because you don't have any leadership on the defense.
I absolutely agree. There's no leadership there. I don't disagree, but I'm not going to work myself up about it until there's some sort of concrete situation that happens or does not happen that I can look to that and go, okay, now we panic. Or see, I didn't have to panic and I'm glad that I didn't.
I'm thinking all week, we're going to be in a good place.
Awesome.
And it's right in your old stomping grounds, which you were touting how amazing they were on. Was that this morning or last night?
I'm just saying, if you've ever been in a frat house at the University of Delaware, your immune system is pretty tough. Okay?
Yes.
And I have lots of people that can attest to that. All right. It is true. It is true. They're gross.
Well, have you ever been to a frat house in anywhere that wasn't gross?
No.
I mean, I did my very best to avoid frat houses at all, wherever I could. No offense if many of you were in frats. I'm sure you loved it, personally.
I mean all of the offense in the world.
I hate it.
I hate it.
I think they're cults. It's a youth movement cult is what I believe. And I should. There's certain fraternities that do it the right way. But well, whatever.
No, Delaware was not one of them. I love Delaware, but no. So anyway, but yeah, so until there's some sort of concrete situation that happens, I'm not going to worry myself with it.
That's a good point.
Like, again, it was like, this might be a nice segue, but like the time between the end of the season and free agency started last year with like Jimmy Butler and all, like I wasn't going to sit there and overanalyze everything. Yeah. Like I was going to let it play out and then make my opinions.
Now I answer your segue. Speaking of Jimmy Butler, Jess.
Nailed it.
Jimmy had some things to say on the JJ Redick podcast. Now, we differ a little bit, me and you, just from our conversation before the show. I don't think we differ a lot. I just think, look, I am not, and we'll talk about, we have some quotes here. We're going to break them down. I'm not saying some of the things Jimmy said weren't partially accurate. Mm-hmm. I just find Jimmy to be a passive-aggressive guy. I find him to be a little Donovan McNabb-ish. Why these conversations are happening now, and that's partially on JJ Redick for having this right now. I don't know. It just seems like, all right, hey, you're in Miami, you're in New Orleans, the Sixers are in turmoil. Why? But Jimmy's a little passive-aggressive, and Jimmy has a punk thing. It's that endearing yet frustrating quality. It's the quality that makes Jimmy Butler a guy that when he's yours,
you love him.
You love him. When he's not, you hate him.
Sure.
And look, okay, I'll continue to say it. Brett Brown is going to get fired. Brett Brown has not had a good season. Brett Brown has not done what he needed to do. But I'll say it, just this is the one part we agreed on. This goes above Brett Brown. It goes above the players. It goes to the strategic plan of this organization, not just the guys in place now, but past guys. Think about it.
It's higher up.
They have not drafted well. They have not handled free agency well. They have been okay with trades. I understand everyone now is like, oh, look, we traded for Tobias Harris. Whatever. Like, I'm not.
Tobias has done exactly what we expected.
He's been the third option. Like, I don't know what else you want from this guy.
And he played extremely well in this period of time without Ben and without Joel. Like, he's done everything we could have asked of him.
Right. So I'll read some of these quotes, and then we'll just take it quote by quote, breaking it down
Sounds
a little bit.
great.
All right. So it starts off this way. JJ asked Jimmy, was last year difficult? JB, also known as Jimmy Butler, says, hell yeah, it was so different on any given day. Me as a person and player, I didn't know who was in charge or what to expect when I went into the gym, plane, or game. I was as lost as the next bad word. One of my things, even when I was on the Brett Brown Hill by myself, one of my things about him that drove me nuts was the accountability factor. Mm-hmm. And I don't disagree with anything Jimmy says there. I think Jimmy's right on. I think Brett in his nature is not the a-hole coach. It's just not who he is.
Right.
And when you have young superstars and things like that and some personalities, you have to have a little jerk in you. And I just think that that's been a major downfall for Brett.
I also think something that was really interesting. So I listened to the most of the podcast on the way here, and I thought it was really interesting that anytime he talked about any of the Sixers coaches, he was just referring to them by first name. Anytime he was talking about anybody in the Miami organization, it was coach someone, Mr. somebody, coach somebody. And I thought that was really interesting based on the way he was describing the Sixers environment and how it differs from the Miami Heat environment.
So they continued on this conversation, and JJ said, meaning there was a lot of voices, to which Butler said, there was just so much going on every day, I didn't even know who to talk to. I realized that in the meeting in the office, I was like, I cannot believe Brett brings me, you, Joe, and Ben in pre-Tobias trade, and we all sitting in there, and nothing got accomplished at all. So I told you when we were walking out, why would I go back in there? Nothing is getting accomplished. We're just sitting in here watching film, all just looking around. You got to think I may have been there 2 to 3 weeks, so I'm sitting in the back, not saying it, nothing. These mofos think I'm an a-hole. Anyway, so I'm going to sit back and I can hear click, click. Then, all right, let's go to practice. And I'm thinking, why did we just go through this? So now we fast forward and we are in Portland during the film session and nobody is saying nothing. So I decided to finally say something.
So
this is in reference to the
media. Backing up.
Yes.
Backing up. So they were talking about this meeting and apparently Brett called a meeting for film before practice.
Okay.
And they're saying that he called in Jimmy, JJ, Ben, and Joel. That was it. Jimmy had only been there a couple weeks, so he wasn't he knew what everyone's pre-trade opinions were of him because it was playing with the third string in Minnesota and telling, Karl Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins, you need me, you can't win without me. Like that whole thing was going on. Right? So that's what everyone knew. No one really knew what to expect when Jimmy came here because they traded him so early in the season. So that's where that was. So that's where that starts. So he was like, okay, I'm not going to say anything. Well, he said nobody said anything in this meeting. They just sat there and you could literally hear the click of the remote. Yeah. No one said anything. Brett didn't say anything. None of the players said anything. They just clicked through. And Jimmy said he was kind of looking around like, I don't know what to do that. And then they walked out and he said he looked at JJ and was like, what's the point of that? And why would I go back in? Why would I go do that again? Nothing gets accomplished. What's the point? So then fast forward to Portland. And as they start talking about this, JJ also says, which by the way, I don't know why this was reported as it was because it seemed, he goes, okay, continue then.
Yeah, and that's what he said.
I want to make sure that was in that.
He said, I thought your interaction with Brett was normal. I don't know why it was reported weird. And if you think back to that, both Brett and Jimmy both said, listen, Jimmy brought something up. That's fine, and we moved on.
And at this point, with all that they talked about, there's no reason for JJ to back him up on that. For a lot of this stuff.
And he takes a shot at Jimmy.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Looking at all this, and we'll kind of wrap it up at the end too, but as I was listening to this, you think JJ has no reason to back Jimmy up on all this.
No.
He has no reason to agree with what Jimmy's saying. He has no reason to, make sure people believe that Jimmy's telling the truth in all this and not making this out to be for himself in any way. Like, he has no reason, like, there's no reason to believe this is for any, like, that Jimmy's just, like, putting on some sort of facade here, you know?
So, apparently, JJ says, you know, the one thing you did wrong, and he talks about Brett, I guess Brett saying there's some tweaks to the offense we're making, and some guys feel the same way you do, and you threw TJ under the bus. He's talking to Jimmy there. I guess Jimmy just says TJ wants more pick and rolls.
Now, Jimmy also said he didn't directly say TJ.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't say it. Jimmy said you know, I'm not the only one that feels this way. And Brett said, okay, like, who else does?
Right.
And Jimmy just kind of, like, looked around and happened to lock eyes with TJ. And then
Monty Williams said, now's the time if you feel different.
And TJ was like, well, yeah, I would like, and that's when he spoke
said
up.
it's okay to speak your mind. And
so if he did physically go, oh, well, TJ said, that's messed up.
Right.
But if he did just kind of, like, look around and happen to, like, catch eyes with TJ, that's, you know.
So this is the part that it kind of irks me, and it irks me because, to me, he's talking out of both sides of his mouth here. It's a very passive-aggressive response. So JJ says, you know how I feel about Brett, and I love Brett. We know JJ Redick loves Brett. He said it numerous times. But your relationship was not the same. They don't have it in this transcript, but Jimmy interjects there and goes, sure as hell not. Don't need that, but okay, that's fine. Towards the end of the year, when you were playing on the ball more, did that relationship evolve more? So that Jimmy says, I would say it remained professional, but I would say it's not fair because the entire year Ben had the ball, and then you're going to do that. I would feel a type of way if you took the ball out of my hands like that, like Ben was. So he immediately insinuates that Ben was pissed off. Okay? I would think it's up to play one way the entire year and then go, boom, you know what this is? And go, boom, you know what this is, how we are going to do it. I would be pissed. I don't think it was the best way to do it. And then it went on, and Jimmy said, I wasn't mad. I wasn't going to say anything. As you said to me earlier, Jimmy did say that he did talk to Brett earlier in the season about this.
He said, you know, this is something I said to Brett throughout the season a couple times was, I think we should incorporate me playing on the ball more. And Brett said, no, that's not how we do it. It's A to B, this, that, and the other thing. Ben has the ball. And Jimmy just said, okay, cool. But this goes back to that conversation in Portland because Jimmy was like, you know, I was going to speak my mind because, you know, what's the worst thing Brett's going to say? F you, no. And then and then Jimmy's like, and then I shut my mouth and we move on.
Right.
Like, but I'm not, he was like, there's no harm in saying it, which goes to this too. Like, if he thinks this and this will help the team, there's no harm in him saying that. And Brett said no, and he said, okay, whatever.
Right.
But then they get to the playoffs and Brett decides to make this change. And I can see, you know, because especially with the scrutiny of Ben Simmons in the playoffs last year, 2 years ago, then again against Brooklyn, and, you know, the kind of things that were happening there. And then to make that change, I understand where he's coming from. And again, Jimmy is the kind of person that is going to tell you about it. If Ben had an issue with it, Ben's not going to publicize that. Furthermore, then that person who it was changed for, he's not there anymore. So why would Ben make a problem about something that's not existing anymore?
Let me put it to you this way though. You know, look, when it comes to stories, there's one side, there's the other side, then there's the truth, right? And I'm not saying that things like this didn't happen, but I tend to believe that Jimmy's going to embellish it a little bit to make himself sound better.
Sure, but there's no reason for JJ Redick not to be like, now Ben wasn't mad.
There is no but see, I hold JJ accountable.
But here's the thing. Maybe he was actually mad, and Jimmy's not embellishing anything.
Jimmy Butler did JJ a silent, came on the show, and JJ doesn't want to go after him. I think that could be more of a situation.
Yeah, but if he didn't want to go after him, he wouldn't have said you did one thing wrong
and on
you
top
did this
of that,
like just the way that they were talking. And from the beginning, we knew that JJ and Jimmy had a good relationship. They developed a really good relationship. Yeah. Remember, right when he came here, they asked him who he's clicked with the quickest, and he said JJ Redick. I learned about his kids. We sat together on a flight.
For Jimmy to act like there's no contention between him and Ben Simmons, there was, and you see it because after games where they have played the Heat this year, he has shaken everybody's hand. Ben hasn't gone near him. Not once in the 3 games.
But he also, after games, but he's also come out and specifically said multiple times, there's no problem with Joel. There's no problem with Ben. There was never a problem with their relationship. He's come out and said that multiple times. It's been reported multiple times from multiple different things, including Joel, Ben, and Jimmy saying there were no issues there. Could it have caused issues, what Brett did and what Brett decided to make that decision when he did, how he did after, like Jimmy said, going through the whole season, playing one way and telling Jimmy no when he suggested that before, and then all of a sudden you decide to make a difference there? You decide to make that change? Mm-hmm. Because, this same guy also says, if Kawhi's shot doesn't go in, we go into overtime and we win that game and we, continue from there. Mm-hmm. He had no ill feelings toward the Sixers team that he had. I don't think there was any issue with that core group of guys because they also talked about, when they were in Salt Lake City after a Jazz game, they all went out to dinner. It was, probably 13 out of the 15 guys on the team. Everybody was there. They were all drinking wine. They all brought their people, and they had such a great time. And then, they were talking about, can you play with people that you don't like or that don't like you or that you don't really get along with? And there's a third person there who was kind of facilitating these questions, and Jimmy was like, I don't really think you can, but you can also say to somebody like, I don't really like you like that, but we're out here to win and we're going to work together to win. Yeah. And Jimmy was like, I've never had to have that conversation with somebody. There could have been other people who felt that way about me, but I've never had that issue. And he was like, if I did have that issue, I would go say that to somebody. Like, listen, we're not cool like that, but we're on this team together for one reason and with one goal in mind, and that's what we're going to do. Right. And he was like, if I had that issue, I would say it. And I don't doubt that he absolutely would. But he also said, I've never had to have that conversation with somebody. Now, that's not to say other people don't feel like that about me, but not everybody is like that and will say that. But from his perspective, like, he, I think, thought they could go somewhere and had a good camaraderie with the guys around him, and there really weren't issues there. It was the further stuff that I was kind of mentioning to you before, which kind of made that go south.
Here's my problem, though. Adjustments get made. And even if the adjustments didn't get made when Jimmy wanted them to get made, the adjustment got made. And it wasn't a bad adjustment because they were playing good basketball.
No.
So, to me, you talk out of both sides of your mouth when you say, first of all, this is a professional sports. The whole it wasn't fair, that argument doesn't work for me. You're professionals. You're professionals. It doesn't have to be fair. It doesn't have to be fair. Was it fair when Jimmy Butler had to go to Minnesota, was traded to Minnesota, and it was just, what would you call it, a dumpster fire? I mean, the whole time he's in Minnesota.
Sure.
No, it wasn't fair. So I don't like that argument. It's not fair. That's just petty. That's petty to me to say, oh, it's not fair. First of all,
who are you trying to defend in this conversation right now, though? If you're saying that you don't like that, he said it wasn't fair.
I think Jimmy is trying to make it as though Brett did something wrong, and I don't think Brett did anything wrong with that adjustment.
I just think it was probably poorly handled. I don't think he's trying to say there was anything wrong with the adjustment. I think he said we played good basketball, but I think he's trying to say he doesn't. I think ultimately the underlying tone here is he doesn't like the way the Sixers organization ran the team, and he doesn't like the way Brett handled situations.
Well, and
I think that's the ultimate underlying
This
message.
brings me, I'm going to skip to this last quote because you talked about the Kawhi shot and how he said we would have won the game and this and that.
Sure.
Whatever. Okay, the last quote, this is not, and, obviously after this went out, you go on Twitter, basically what they're telling you is Jimmy blames Brett Brown for everything. This is what Jimmy blames. And this is not necessarily a Brett Brown issue, if you ask me.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. JJ said, I knew I wasn't coming back at the exit meeting unless they had no other options. When did you know? Jimmy said, do you think I'm just that hard to work with? To which JJ said no. And he said, so I ain't throwing no one under the bus, but somebody told me the main reason I didn't go back was because someone asked, can you control Jimmy? The fact you're trying to control a grown man, I was like, nah, I'm cool. Because I don't do anything drastically stupid. If that's what you were...
And to be honest, he doesn't.
Yeah.
Like, he's got an opinion, but at the end of the day, if that's the biggest problem, that's not really a problem.
So he said, if that's what you're worried about, I think, man, good luck to you all. This was super early before free agency. When I heard about Miami, we talked about it as a family, and it all worked out. The way we do things, we work every single day. We expect you to come in and win. JJ said, you seem much happier. Said, I get to be me. I ain't worried about people trying to control me. That's some up.
You could just replace it with other words.
And then there's more Miami. I could, but I like the pause is nice. That is not, to me, something that Brett said.
In my opinion, I don't think Brett would. That's someone saying that to Brett.
Yeah,
Like
that's an Elton.
No, I don't know that for a fact, but that's like what.
That's an Elton GM, somebody in that front office comment. I don't know Elton, but
I am more inclined to believe that it's higher up than Elton. Like, to me, that sounds.
You think it's Harris?
Yeah. That sounds higher up, saying to an Elton and Brett Brown kind of simultaneously. Like, if you can get this guy under control, then yeah, toss that money at him.
Uh-huh.
That's my opinion. That's how that sounds to me. I wouldn't be shocked if that's exactly how it happened. But I also just think, I think that's absolutely right. Like, I would feel the same way. I would absolutely feel the same way. And
oh, yeah, that's the meaning as a man. Like, that comment I have no
as a
problem
human.
with. Yeah,
Like,
that's what I
as
said,
a
as a man.
human.
Yeah.
not
That's-
just as a man, as a human being.
When I say man, I mean it in the presumptual.
Oh,
So,
all
yeah,
human.
yes,
Okay. Yes.
yes.
Yes. Like, just like as a person. Like, that's not something you say. And I would because he's right. He's not out. He's not some like party guy out in the clubs. He's not Allen Iverson.
No,
You know what I mean?
think
Like,
he has
he's not gambling till.
Like I said, my issue with Jimmy, and I made it very clear, when he's here, you love him. When he's not, is he's got that punk-like attitude, that passive-aggressive side. Now that he's not here, I don't like it. You could call me a hypocrite for that. That's fine. But that's what being a sports fan is. He's that guy that you're not going to like when they're not here.
Yeah.
And look, there is part of me that thinks he is petty enough where part of him doing this is because we're nearing the end of the season. These two teams seem like they're on this clash in the first round, unless the Sixers just keep losing, which, God, we'll get into that soon.
But I also think about it.
That he's trying to cause turmoil.
If that's what someone said about you, wouldn't you have a little bit of an inclination
that
to
line
be a
I have
little
a problem with. It's the other
petty?
it's the other stuff that is
yeah,
just
but like just in terms of like the pettiness.
In general.
Like
I understand what
if
you're
that
saying.
was your situation and like you didn't
Yeah.
in terms of after I heard that and after I heard him tell that story, I kind of sat back a little and was like, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Because that to me is, and then, after all that, he goes on to talk about the work ethic in Miami and the different coaches, like saying that like he's been cursed out by teammates for not giving 110% one day, or, the coaches are going to let him know, let everybody know what their role is, what it's supposed to be, and when you're not performing your role. Like apparently, I think they were talking about Duncan Robinson. He at one point started like dribbling the ball into the arc, and they pulled him out of the game. And Eric Spoelstra was like, "The hell are you doing?" And he was like, "Playing basketball." And he was like, "No, you don't go in the 3-point line. Your role is to shoot threes." So, and Jimmy was saying, like he can take 20 threes a game and only make 2, and he won't get in trouble for that. But if he starts trying to do other crafty things, that's when he gets yelled at because that's not what he's out there to do.
Right.
And I think that's just not a way the Sixers are run.
Man.
And it's just you see the complete difference. And and I will say, Jimmy also said, it's different than Philly, but it's also different than Chicago. It's different than Minnesota.
Yeah, everybody's different.
He didn't just throw the Sixers under the bus in terms of that. He said, this is the most regimented locker room he's been in. And he also said, he likes that militant way it's run. That's how he prefers things. And, we've talked about a lack of structure with the Sixers. We've talked about
and
the
that
players
doesn't.
being
And that's
babied
just not
and
all
coddled
coaches.
and-
That goes to a Pat Riley run organization.
Oh, absolutely.
Versus a Josh Harris run
Oh,
organization.
100%. But I think that was,
Yeah.
that was.
And
more-
look, I hope that a new coach is all it takes to energize his team and get them where they need to be. I have my doubts. I have my doubts that a new coach doesn't do anything because the organizational structure hasn't changed. And you don't have a lot of money to play around with, in the offseason. It's not like you could sign big names or anything like that. And, on top of everything, Al Horford and Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons on the floor together doesn't fit. Doesn't fit.
Yeah.
And I know people are up in arms about Brett saying that without Ben, he wants to give this Joel and Al thing one more try. Part of that, I think, is your options are dwindling at this point. I think without Ben Simmons, and this is what, Jess, you have both been on for months and months and months.
Years.
Okay. Without Ben Simmons, you're really strapped.
Without
Ben
Ben
try
Simmons,
different
y'all
things.
suck.
You have to try different things. And this is one of those things that he's going to try, and we'll see what happens.
I miss Ben Simmons.
Oh, my God.
I really, really miss Ben Simmons.
So somebody from CBS Sports said that it's a definite, true, real possibility that the NCAA tournament just gets flat out canceled.
Yikes.
Apparently, the Ivy League is canceling their spring sports seasons.
I told you, my brother's season's about to get canceled. They weren't letting athletes travel.
And it's like every 10 minutes. It's every 10 minutes that
wash y'all's hands.
Something else is coming out. It's crazy. It's crazy. All right, so let's get we've
the
talked.
Sixers suck without Ben Simmons.
So we've talked about Jimmy and JJ. We need to move away from that.
You know what that podcast really just did to me though? I miss JJ Redick. I miss everything about JJ Redick. I miss everything about him.
Yeah, and like we said, that as Dennis was showing me, the first 4 games are without a doubt no fans.
Yep.
Out in Ohio, that was decided by the Ohio state government, and you've seen Ohio doing a lot of things. You saw the 2 presidential candidates cancel appearances last night because the government asked them basically, we don't want to do this here. So moving back to the Sixers, they go out west with no Ben, no Joel. We're all looking at it going, oh my God. Can you go 1-3? Can you go 2-2? They win in an impressive fashion in Sacramento, who was a team that was.
Wait, back up.
I'm not even worried about those first 2 games.
No.
I have to worry about that?
They almost beat the damn Clippers.
I know.
Losing
Josh
Richardson in the first couple seconds.
We went out. I was like, there's no reason to watch this game. What am I gonna do? And then I'm like watching on my phone as I'm in the car going, oh.
We watched.
Shake, baby.
We watched at home with I think we had a nice little fire that we built. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to remember what that weekend consisted of. But, I Shake Milton over here just getting things done. And nothing made me happier than seeing the videos of, fans behind people Googling who the hell Shake Milton was.
Excellent.
That made my heart pretty happy. But, yeah, and then, even the way that they kind of played in spurts against the Lakers. There were things that I was, ready to kill somebody over, but there were also things that you're like, can I really be upset with this right now?
I watched the first 2.5 quarters because it was the late game, and I ended up going
so late.
Middle of the third quarter when you could see that it was starting to get away from them. I was like, okay, I'm finished. And Jess, see, that's what I can't stand about this fan base. There was a logical side to this to say, really, what do we expect to happen here? It doesn't matter if Red Auerbach's coaching that team. It doesn't matter. They're playing with without their top 2 guys.
Yeah. Anthony Davis won't do that on the court with Joel out there.
No.
Please,
so
give
then
me
they
a
go
freaking break.
So then they go into Sacramento, and I think get a very impressive win because Sacramento have been trending upwards. They had won 6 or 7 in a row. They're battling for a playoff spot, and they kind of took it to them, right? I think they ended up winning that game they win it by 20 or by 18 or
the Lakers?
The Sacramento game. They won by 20 points, didn't they?
No. I don't
was it
think so.
125, 103?
I don't remember. You keep talking. I'll find that out.
Yeah, you find that out. So regardless, I thought it was an impressive win. I thought they played well. And
Al Horford played really well.
He looked comfortable. He looked confident. His shot looked better. He was doing good things down low.
I did stay up for that entire game.
Yes.
Why, I will never know, but I did.
I don't think I did it for that one either. And then we get to Saturday, okay? And at first I'm thinking to myself.
It was. I'm sorry. I thought it got really close at the end, and then they pulled away. One more time. 125, 108. You were right. That was dead on. That was pretty impressive.
Well,
I would not have come up with that, but
there you go. I think I remembered it because I was kind of shocked to see that score. It's like, holy God. I was like, they could put up 120 points without Joel and Ben? Like, I didn't even think that was possible.
yeah, me neither.
So then Saturday comes.
Mm-hmm.
And before the game, before all the announcements, I was like, this is such a trap game. I'm thinking, this is the last game of a road trip. Steph's back. Draymond, And then it comes out that Steph and Draymond both are sitting out. And my initial reaction is, oh, thank God. And then during the day, I started going, could this be really bad? Could this just actually hurt them? Because now it's like, oh, we can just kind of take a step back. But then they jump out to what? Like a 10 or 13-point lead in the first quarter. And I'm thinking, okay, keep them at bay, just score. And then you kind of watched it. You watch it, and at halftime, I texted my group. I said, this has the makings of a late loss for this team. And I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm putting the game on the phone, and I'm watching The Man in the High Castle on Amazon Prime because I already see where this is going.
We were on our way home from Andrew's lacrosse game, so we were listening to it, and then we got home for the second half and just watched it. Just fly away.
Yeah, and so I got it on my phone here. I'm watching my show, and I'm like, oh, okay. All right. And I'm thinking, like, in the fourth, they're still hitting that clutch shot here. That I'm like, okay, it's just going to be and then it's just, you just see it, and then I'm like, and then Golden State started shooting like Clay. First of all, how many guys could just do a floating runner from the foul line with no defense and score before you say, as just a basketball player, I might want to step up?
Well, when you have people out there playing defense named Furkan Korkmaz, Howell Neto.
Oh, Furkan.
I don't know what else you're supposed to do.
Furkan. That loss was more demoralizing than any loss this year.
I have never seen an athlete over the age of like 10 not be able to stay within the perimeter of an athletic field more than Furkan Korkmaz.
It makes no sense to me.
There's no athlete literally above middle school that steps out of bounds more often than Furkan Korkmaz. Like, I've never seen anything like. Are the courts not the same size in Turkey? Like, what are we doing? I'm so confused. I don't understand.
They went back.
Do they practice without out of bounds?
They
lines?
went
What
back
do
to the play they won in Portland. That was basically the same play they won that game earlier in the season in Portland.
And that's great. And
but
I'm
why
fine
is
with
he
that.
stepping out of bounds?
But why are you not in bounds? Like, why do you get called for that more often than?
I agree.
Like,
I totally agree. I thought that right as it happened.
Like, there's no one that gets called for that more than Furkan Korkmaz because there's no one that does it more.
I thought it instantly when it happened. I thought to myself, why do you step out of
all
bounds?
Of the time?
And the worst part about it is when you watch the replay, he sets his plant leg, and it's the foot that's rotating around. Like, you're already moving that foot. Why are you stopping it right there? What are you doing? I understand it's a tight space, but you're an NBA player.
I just don't understand. Like, I just don't understand.
It's plays like that make me look at this season and go, it just ain't in the cards. It just ain't there.
I've just, like, come to terms with the fact that Ben Simmons is probably done for the year.
Well, yeah, then you get that news today.
Yeah.
3 more weeks for a reevaluation.
And apparently he's going to talk to the media tonight, which
that's going to go over real well.
Yeah, it's going to.
Has there been?
But wait.
Has there been a Joel Embiid definitely playing yet? Do we know? I know that it was a questionable.
Think so.
I know that Gargano said that he got word that he is playing. I know that Josh Richardson apparently is playing.
Which is a terrible decision, by the way.
Yeah, I agree.
said yesterday, yeah, I'm cleared, but I'm still having headaches. Well, then you still have a concussion. Please don't play basketball against the Detroit Pistons.
Yeah.
It's unnecessary.
Yeah.
Please don't do it.
At this point,
I think he's questionable. I think Joel's questionable for tonight. That was the last I saw. But we haven't gotten anything else. Yeah, I don't know. Did you see that Ben still leads the league in steals per game and hasn't played
in
10
2.5
games?
weeks?
That's my defensive player of the year.
Yes, it is.
He's going to get robbed of defensive player of the year.
Oh,
Because
100%. 100% he ain't getting it.
I'm so upset about it.
Yeah,
I'm
I
very
agree with
upset about it.
Well,
because
we know you. You get.
But here's the thing.
You are
he
the
had
most
a
rational person.
phenomenal season.
You're the most rational person I know. But when it comes to Ben Simmons,
Don't
your
try me with
rationality is gone. You become so irrational.
Absolutely
You
don't
can't
try me
listen
with
to
Ben
anybody.
Simmons.
You won't listen
No.
to a soul when it comes.
Don't try
And
me with Ben
it could
Simmons.
even be someone trying to agree with you, and you're just not going to listen.
No. But tell me I'm wrong though. Like he was absolutely going to win defensive player of the year if he didn't get hurt. And I understand that he probably won't win it because he got hurt and isn't able to finish out the season. I understand that. It bums me out for him. Similarly, if Zion wins rookie of the year, I will riot.
Yes, because that's exactly what happened to Joel Embiid. Only Joel played the first half of the season and not the second.
And dominated.
And Zion didn't play the first and is now playing the second.
If Zion wins rookie of the year,
Ja Morant's going to win
Malcolm
rookie of the year.
Brogdon needs to be stripped of that title.
Ja Morant should and will win rookie of the year.
I hope he does, and deservingly so. If Zion played a whole season, sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, what Zion's doing is awesome, and it's great for the game. I like seeing him succeed. I do. I like the kid.
Yeah, truthfully, I didn't know if it would translate or not. I was not.
No, I wasn't
I was
sure.
very skeptical. I'm happy that it is.
Yeah,
because
it's good
I
for
think
him.
I think it is fun for the league.
It's
100%.
good for the league. So, ready for this question? I think I know the answer. Jess, are the Sixers
Yes!
going to win tonight?
Yes.
Are the Sixers going to win
Yes.
every game for the rest of the year?
Yes.
Okay. So they're going to go 17-0.
10-9, 8-76ers. Let's go.
I do want to see a win tonight.
Yeah.
I really do. Just let me see a win.
Just please.
I
Win
like
at home.
my whole thing at this point is I don't want to have to
Jump
get
off a tall building.
I don't want to have my only type of sport to watch. No, I can't say that because the next thing we're talking about, but I don't want my Sixer season to be over right now. I want to be able to watch them with a little bit of passion for the game still.
What is it? 4 games they have to win to clinch a playoff spot?
Is that it?
I think so.
No, that will do. Well,
I mean, they're going to clinch a playoff spot.
Yeah,
like
I mean,
that's not
they're gonna do
they're
that.
fine.
God, we say that. What if we came back and
Stop.
had 3
Nope.
wins?
Nope. We're not even gonna talk. We're not even gonna have that conversation. Absolutely not.
Oh my God, it would be
Nope,
devastating.
that's not a conversation.
It
we're
would
gonna
be
have.
devastating.
Okay, so they have the Pistons tonight, the Pacers on Saturday, which will be a good game, unfortunately.
Is that in Indiana?
No, it's here. They're on a 4-game home stretch.
Yeah, probably.
All they need to do is win their games
Yeah,
at home,
yeah.
and
you
they're
know
in the
what's gonna
playoffs.
happen? You know what's going to happen?
No.
Once again, showing us what this season has been for this team,
No.
they're going to have to start playing without the fans.
That's fine.
No, it's not. That's
yeah,
why
no,
they
it's
win.
not.
It's going to be like a road game for them. No juice.
They play the Pistons tonight, Pacers on Saturday, Wizards on Monday, Raptors on Wednesday, and then second night of a back-to-back in Charlotte. And then they come home and play the Hawks next Saturday.
Guess what?
What?
They're not losing one of them. They're not losing one of them.
10-9,
6-0,
8-76ers.
baby.
Let's go.
6-0. All will be well. They'll be up at that 5
seed.
seed.
The Flyers just ended their win streak. It's time for the Sixers to go
But
home.
played very well,
well.
last night.
Very
played
well.
very well.
It's unbelievable
And
how
it's
well.
one of those. Tuukka Rask is a
It was
bastard.
unbelievable. That was unbelievable.
He does this to the
That was
Flyers
unbelievable.
all the time, that guy. It drives me insane.
It was amazing.
So, Jess, since our last show a couple weeks ago.
Oh, yeah. They're in the 6th seed right now, and the Nets are in the 7th seed, 8 games back.
Of the Sixers?
Yeah.
How many games back are the Sixers of the 5 and the 4?
Of the 5 and the 4, they are a half a game behind the Pacers at 5.
Half a game behind.
And they're 3 behind the Heat.
So the
at
4 is still a possibility.
Yeah.
They would just have to really go on a nice run in the end of the year.
If the Heat continue to plummet.
Although the Heat have won, 4 in a row now.
Have they?
Yeah, the Heat went on a little
I
streak.
don't pay attention.
When the Sixers were going 1-3 out west, the Heat decided it was time to win some games. Because if you remember, that was all like a half a game between those 3 teams for a while.
Do you want to know what the worst thing in the world was?
Goran Dragic is dominating?
No.
I just didn't know. I was throwing that out there.
That is.
Not an all-star,
Friday,
apparently.
so one of Joe's coworkers, who he's really close with, is a Celtics Patriots fan. He's like the worst person on planet Earth. He's from here, like born and raised here. His mom's an Eagles fan. His dad's a Raiders fan, and like he just like chooses to love Boston. It's the strangest
That's
thing.
like the worst thing to say.
I love him to death, but just like the worst.
Apparently
kind
not. You just call him the worst person
he's
on
just
planet
like
Earth.
the worst kind of person. Like he was like born and raised here, and is I hate him. But anyway, so we went out to dinner on Friday night with him and his girlfriend. And we got tacos, had some margs, and decided we were going to go back and, continue to have some beverages. So we're in our apartment, we're drinking some wine, and Sean goes, "Oh, the Celtics are playing. Like, do you mind if we turn the game on?" We're like, "Yeah, whatever." Like, so I'm just like, "Yeah, I'll cheer for whoever the hell is playing against the Celtics." He turns his game on, and they're playing the damn Utah Jazz. I was literally like, "What do I do in this situation?"
Go in the other
room. Can they both lose?
Watch your phone.
I don't even remember who won. Like, I was just so angry with it on my television.
The Celtics did.
I was so upset.
Because I was annoyed.
I was just screaming at the TV, like just cursing out all of these players.
Know what's
funny?
Was
unbelievable.
If the Sixers were to say fall to the 6th seed, right?
The Sixers are in the 6th.
No, but if they stay there and that's that would mean a Boston Philly first round, right? Because Boston's a 3 seed.
Yeah.
I would pick the Sixers to win the series.
Hell yeah, I'd pick the Sixers.
I would absolutely pick the Sixers to win the series. And then it's the Raptors in the second round again. Right, because the 3-6 would go to the 2-7 series. This is so weird that as bad as they've played, and as much as I have actually started to dislike watching this season, for many different reasons, I still look and go, a 7-game series is different than just playing here and there in a regular season. Mm-hmm. And in a 7-game series, I feel like the Sixers are good enough to still beat anybody. Mm-hmm. Now, without Ben, it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
But even without him, I think they could beat the Celtics. Mm-hmm. I know that sounds crazy. I know people are telling me I'm nuts. Maybe I am nuts.
I don't think you're nuts at all.
But, well.
This is the most I've agreed with you in months.
Months? How long have we been doing this show? 3 years? 2 years?
Yeah, well, I probably agreed with you at some point about something else.
I highly
all right, whatever. This is the first time I've agreed with you in a year, 2 years. How long
and that's, I think, why I keep. It's been about it's almost 2 years. Almost 2 years. Happy almost anniversary there, girl.
That gotcha.
All right.
Draft night.
Yeah.
It's draft night.
It was draft night. And then we did another draft night where we both don't remember when the Eagles selected.
It's fine.
That was fun.
This year we're only drinking Everclear. Only drinking Everclear. Making sure. We're all good.
Wait a minute. We are. If the draft does not get canceled, we have to do something. I think
that's going to be a last-minute decision, though.
Yeah. Even if it's at a house. Even if I come up to you and we do a Madness/Babes on Broad night watching the draft.
Yeah. It's going to be a last-minute decision, though.
Yeah. That's all right.
Fair enough.
I got last-minute decisions, Emmy.
Great.
All right, let's do a little Flyers talk before we get to This Is Madness, which I got to think of some things for This Is Madness, but I'm sure I can. I got a new car. Maybe we'll talk about that.
I did. You did. I was
like,
whose car is that?
You know,
I have to. I have more fun Joe stories to share with you.
Joe, I want there to be a Joe-free This Is Madness. Stop doing stuff, man.
It wasn't just him this time.
Oh, God.
It was him and his friend Sean. I'm just going to tell you, this, just men are idiots. It doesn't stop until, at least 24, and, it just, gets a little bit better. It, doesn't just go away. It, starts to get better.
35. It really hasn't started getting better yet.
Well, good. That gives me something to look forward to. But the Flyers.
Yes. So the Flyers just ended a 9-game winning streak. And I think it was a 10-game point streak as they had an overtime loss somewhere in there. But in that streak, beating the likes of the Rangers twice, beating the Washington Capitals. Did they beat Pittsburgh in that 9-game win streak? Was Pittsburgh part of that 9-game win streak? And in doing so, put themselves comfortably into the second place of the Metro. For a little bit there, we're tied for first place with Washington.
Wait. Timeout.
Breaking news.
A little bit. The NCAA men's and women's tournaments will be held without fans and only essential staff and limited family attendance.
Wow.
That's the biggest breaking news we've had on the show ever in 2 years.
Yeah. Wow. That is.
It's nuts.
I mean, this is what I'm curious about.
Okay.
Obviously, I'm a huge NCAA tournament fan. I don't miss it. Even like if I'm in school, I got it on my phone, on my desk, I'm watching.
Right.
My curiosity, and this goes for the pro level too. These guys are human beings. Mm-hmm. So when there's fans either booing them or cheering them, it adds something. Yeah. What are these games going to seem like glorified practices? Is it going to be sloppier? Is it going to be... I'm very curious how the games get played. I agree with the decision.
Because here's why. It's because it can't be detected unless there's symptoms already being shown. So, if you're not showing symptoms, they can't just, test everybody coming in.
Oh, no, I agree.
You know what I mean? So it's just
I agree with the decision. My point is, just from a sports side of things.
Oh, it's going to be weird.
It's going to be really strange to watch. Because
it's going to be weird.
Part of what you love is, say on those buzzer beaters, is the roar of the crowd in that process. It is going to be so weird on that first weekend, that Thursday and Friday, when it is basketball all day and food and drinks and all the good stuff. It is going to be so strange to watch these games. Now, here's my question with the NCAA, though. Okay, NCAA tournament where no fans. What about the tournaments being played this week? Why are you not doing that for these tournaments? How is that not changing? They're playing the ACC tournament. All the conference tournaments are right now.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, the ACC tournament started last night.
Yeah, I don't know.
So don't you have to if you're mandating that for next week?
How long is that? How long until the NCAA tournament starts? How long?
It's a week from tomorrow. Technically, it's a week from yesterday because they have the two playing games on Tuesday and Wednesday. So my point is
not enough time because I was saying if it's 2 weeks.
Yeah, my point is if you've decided to do this now, well then, in my opinion, you have to say from here on out, every conference tournament, no fans.
Yeah, that's nuts. I don't know.
And the other thing, and this is part of the problem we're having right now. There's no consistency to these things. Some leagues are doing it. Other leagues are not. Some teams are doing it. Other teams are not. And look, I'm not trying to be a political guy, but there has to be something from the top.
I was just going to say it's because there's been nothing from the top.
The top has to start to mandate something.
Every entity is doing their own thing, and there's no regulation about it.
Look, in my opinion, and I've only come to this opinion recently. I've only come to this opinion, honestly, within today. Because for a while, I was like, hey, you got to go on. You got to live your life. You got to do it. There needs to be a serious thought process about schools, sporting event, everything. Taking this 14 days seems to be that magic number. Taking a 14-day hiatus. They really need to think about this right now. For the safety of people in general. When you have a pandemic, which is officially being called a pandemic, you got to learn from the past of what we didn't do and make sure that you right the ship.
Yeah.
This is obviously already worse than what...
And there's still ways to make it better.
Yes. And all it takes is the top to mandate something. And it's a little frustrating. And look, I'm a teacher, right? We had a meeting with the faculty yesterday. And part of it was we don't want to be the ones spurring, public craziness with the kids. If the kids bring it up, try and just stop the conversation. And I'm totally in agreement with all that.
Right.
And they also said we don't have an imminent threat near us. There's nobody near us at this point. I'm somewhat okay with what you're saying there. And they said it right. We are only going to do what the Department of Health tells us to do, which is what schools, but the Department of Health and above need to step the hell up now.
Right.
Because now you're talking about some of the most profitable and lucrative things saying, So guess what? We have to have a major thought process about this.
Yeah.
And,
And I just, and that's the thing. Like last week, I was.
I feel bad for the Flyers. Every time we got to try and talk.
We'll get there. I was teaching dance last week, and everyone was freaking out. And I was like, listen, like just wash your hands.
Yeah, that's
use your
how I
hand
was
sanitizer.
last week. Yep.
Stay away. But I'm still kind of.
I'm still washing your hands, but I'm a little more concerned now.
But like, I just think that it's like, because everyone was like, is freaking out, like we're all gonna die. Like,
right.
Just
that's not the case.
Calm down a little. You need to still, like, and I said to them then, I was like, if you know anybody that has, like, a little sniffle, I was like, if it's up in the sniffles, it's not it, okay? Like, that's allergies or the regular flu. But, like, even if you have the smallest ailment of any kind, like, stay at home, and if you know some with it, like, shame them into staying home.
Yeah.
Like, don't.
No, but see, the problem is because of how society is,
right.
People won't, and that's why I feel like eventually you have got to just say.
But then there's the other people that are like, oh, flights are cheap now. Let's book a trip and go. Stop it.
No.
Now is not.
You can book a flight for later on.
Yeah, I would say, don't be that person. Like,
yeah,
don't
go
be
somewhere
like,
right now.
oh, now
don't say, oh, cruises are super cheap. We should go on a cruise right now. People are stupid.
I swear to God, a month ago, Joe and I were talking about going on another cruise this summer, and then we were like, nah, we not doing that.
Yeah.
Nope. But like that's the thing. We were talking about going to California this summer. We're probably gonna wait on that. We're gonna see how this continues before we make that decision. I know people that are supposed to be going on like the Disney cruise in August. They're not going to cancel it yet. They're going to wait a little bit to see what happens.
Because with
rash
many
decisions.
Viruses, right? They tell you with many viruses, heat kind of affect these in the sense of killing them. So we have to kind of wait and see what's going to happen as we reach the real spring months and summer months and things of that nature.
I swear to God, though, this pollen the last couple of days, my allergies are so inconsistent from year to year, and my eyes have been itching like crazy over the last couple of days. So I had to go get some allergy pills because I'm like, trying not to touch my face, and my eyeballs are exploding.
You know what's funny? I refuse to not touch my face. Why? Because it's just what I do.
I know. I've been trying
Not
so
only that,
much.
you know what week it is for me at school? This is sophomore term paper week, which means I received on Monday 88 5 to 8 page papers. Okay? I don't know if you've ever met sophomores. They're not the best.
No.
So as you're grading, you're doing a lot of this and this and this. The first 2 papers I graded, I had a class in there as I was doing it, and I stood up and walked to the window, and they were like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "No."
Yeah.
So I'm touching my face a lot right now.
Well, so here's the thing. I am a pick and bite at my cuticles kind of individual. So
I hate that word.
What?
Cuticles.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I've always been that way since I was little, and I've been like so super aware of like not doing that.
Yeah.
Also, the backs of my hands are 100% raw from washing my hands to the Eagles fight song constantly. I will literally be sitting on the couch and I'll hear Joe in the bathroom singing the Eagles fight song. I think it's the best decision that we've ever made. But it's just.
By the way, our friend, one of the co-founders at the Painted Lines, who help us get out to you guys every week, tweeted out, "It's going to be weird when the NBA Finals and NCAA tournament look like the Utah Jazz Summer League." I mean, that's almost what you're going to. Yeah. You're going to that summer league in the school gym. This is going to be now. Will they play the games at those sites still? Will they still have these kids travel to? I don't even know where the Final Four is this year.
I have no idea. Wait, hold on. I'm looking at the statement right now
from the Philadelphia 76ers?
No.
Because they have a statement out right now.
No. From the NCAA president. Continues to assess the impact of COVID-19 in consultation with the public health officials and our COVID-19 advisory panel. Based on their advice and my discussions with the NCAA Board of Governors, I've made the decision to conduct our upcoming championship events, including the Division I men's and women's basketball tournaments, with only essential staff and limited family attendance. While I understand how disappointing this is for all fans of our sports, my decision is based on the current understanding of how COVID-19 is progressing in the United States. This decision is in the best interest of our public health, including that of coaches, administrators, fans, and most importantly, our student athletes. We recognize the opportunity to compete in an NCAA national championship is an experience of a lifetime for students and their families. Today, we will move forward and conduct championships consistent with the current information, and we'll continue to monitor and make adjustments as needed. That's what we got so far.
The Sixers, just for tonight, if anybody was planning on going to the game, that is still going on. As it says, the health and safety of our players, fans, staff members, partners in the greater Philadelphia community are important to our organization. We are closely monitoring the latest developments and medical guidance regarding the coronavirus, working with medical experts and state and local officials, as well as our venue partners, Wells Fargo Center. We have established health and safety protocols, which we will update as necessary. Consistent with the recommendation of the NBA, tonight's game versus the Detroit Pistons will proceed as scheduled. I have a very good feeling this will be the last game the Sixers play with fans. I have a feeling after tonight, the NBA is going to make a decision that until for the foreseeable future, I think all your professional leagues are going to do this. There will be no fans in attendance.
Also, everyone better look the hell out because Mike Scott pulled back the hockey sweater situation for tonight.
I'm not looking the hell out about him anymore.
7 threes. Let's go. Made, by the way. That, to be clear, that was 7 threes made.
7 threes made. All right, I'll mark it down. This is insane, man. Like
It's nuts.
I don't know. There was part of me the whole time that just never thought that it would get to this. Man, I mean, I'm like kind of astonished right now. I know it may not make for great video that me and you are on our phones, but this is like literally changing every 5 seconds.
Yeah. It's kind of nuts. And it's just, I mean, it's there were too many people that were brushing it off completely to start and not, because like I said, I was trying to calm people down who were like panicking and freaking out last week because I was like, listen, just wash your hands, use your hand sanitizer, stay away from people that are sick, like everyone just calm down, like just relax. But, like that, you still like take the precautions as they're suggested to you.
Yeah.
That's all that is.
Did you by any chance see the video of him at Popeyes?
Yeah. How about the one of him that you couldn't find his phone?
Oh my God. Their video, and I don't even want to laugh because I'm so mad at the team right now, but they are so funny.
They are entertaining.
And I'm so glad that Toby found a new friend because I really felt like when he lost Bobby, it was going to really hurt him. And he found a new friend in Tease, Toby and Tease.
Yeah, I do love them together. That makes my heart happy.
Yeah, it does. And we'll see them at least for the next few years, without a doubt. I am astonished because the NCAA normally doesn't do the right thing.
Yes.
And I never expected them to actually do the right thing. And they finally did the right thing. And I did not expect it. I've said all along, they're not going to do it. They're going to be stupid about this.
Hopefully it's things like these that kind of set precedent for other people to be like, okay, we need to do the right thing here. And I think, it's ultimately a matter of everybody needs to kind of do the right thing.
Yeah.
Apparently, like, basketball players with contracts in China were just told that they should be expected to come back. And they're all like, no.
Yeah.
Because I know a girl that I went to high school with. She played at Penn State. She plays in China. I forget where in China. But she plays in China, and her season was suspended. She came home. And
now you can't. I don't think you probably can't get out of there. Who knows? They're as untransparent as anybody. Their government. So, all right. So this is Matt. Let's have a little fun with the show because we're in the last 15 minutes. This is such a serious issue, and it's kind of taking over. So why not have a little fun at Joe's expense and let you bash Joe to me and me try and give Joe some advice right into the camera as I did last week.
Do you want to hear what him and Sean did on Friday?
That's what I'm getting at. I would like to know what they did so then I could yell.
So I was...
This is like the second Friday in a row they've done something.
Oh, my God. They're such morons. It's not even funny.
Wasn't Sean with him the last time?
Oh, yeah. And so this is the thing. So, right. So I'm like,
here's my
you
new
two
advice.
together...
Get a new friend.
You two together really, really try me. But here's the thing. Like, him and Sean, like, they come back to our apartment almost every day after school. And, like, he as much as I like rag on him for being one of the worst kinds of people in the world, he's actually like a very sweet guy. And he's a very like good-hearted person. So Friday we were going to get dinner and we were going to get tacos, we were going to have some margaritas, and we were all just going to hang out. Well, I texted because I was supposed to do something. I was supposed to get dinner with one of my friends, and then she was sick, so I changed my plans for the stuff around, like it was just a whole thing. So I said, Joe told me he was hanging out with Sean, and I was like, okay, like you said he was coming over, do you guys just want to go get something to eat, like in Manayunk or whatever? So he was like, yeah, I'll ask Sean if he wants to ask his girlfriend to come too. Great, sounds wonderful. So I'm sitting at home on Friday afternoon working, and I was working late because I just started a new search. So I was like getting all my stuff together. So this week was a little bit easier. I get a phone. I see my phone start to ring. And I'm like, okay, it's the number. So in our apartment complex, we each have a code. Every resident has a code, and you put the code in, and it calls your cell phone. So you can answer, talk to the person, and let somebody in or, not. So I notice it's the number for the front of someone's here that I need to let in. Mm-hmm. So in my head, I'm like, oh, maybe it's just Sean and Joe. Joe had to go back to the school. Oh my God, they were going to the middle school boys had a basketball game, and it was a playoff game. So they had to take kids to the game. Mm-hmm. So I thought they were in separate cars. Joe was doing something still, and Sean was just already there. So I answered the phone, and I said, hello, expecting Sean to say something ridiculous, as he usually does. And no one really answered, and I was like, hello? And I hear a female's voice, and she was like, hi. And I was like, who is this? I didn't know who was coming. And she's like, it's Mary, Sean's girlfriend. I'm like, oh, I didn't know you were on your way over here. I'm so sorry.
Do you know Mary, by the way?
I do. Mary, I know her. Okay. It would have been fine. I had no idea.
You just had no idea she was coming.
So I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. I had no idea you were, no one told me you were coming here first. I'll let you in. So I let her in, and then I think to myself, she's never been here. She doesn't know where our apartment is in this complex. Sean didn't even give her our apartment number. So I didn't have her phone number either. So I messaged her on Instagram, and I'm like, hey, we're this number apartment. Here's how you, if I don't know where you are, here's how you get to it from the different spots in our complex. So he never told me that, neither of them ever told either of us that they had, asked her if she wanted to come to dinner, and she was coming to dinner. No one told me that she was on her way there. No one told her that I had no idea she was coming. Didn't give her the apartment number that she was going to. And to make things worse, she kept calling him, Sean, to ask him what apartment number. He never picked up the phone.
See, I just touched my face, Joe.
So then Joe gets back, right? And I'm like, so he calls me, and I'm like, I text him, I'm like, you're an idiot. And he's like, why? He comes in, and I tell him why. And he goes, oh, so I shouldn't tell you that Sean and I were just talking on the phone while I was pulling into the apartment.
Was like, Mary at your apartment at this point?
Oh, yeah. So Mary's sitting next to me, and we were just like, these two are, honest to God, too stupid for words.
Well, here's the good news for you.
Too stupid for words.
Let me give you the good news. You at least have a partner in dealing with this.
Yeah, I have a couple that
but this one is you two can really be therapeutic for each other.
So we were saying that, we were just like, oh my, how dumb they were across the board. Just information was not shared.
Yeah. Someone brought something up about if they ban fans in the NBA. Mm-hmm. Maybe this might actually benefit the Sixers on the road. It's going to be the same.
True.
Not going to be any different. Maybe they win a game. Who knows?
Probably not.
Probably not. It probably means they're going to lose all their home games now, too.
Stop it.
What did I want to talk about? There was something.
So, yeah, that was my ridiculous thing that's happened
this
week.
Joe, you got to be better, Joe. I don't want to be here next Wednesday and have Jess get to This Is Madness to go, well.
You want to know what Joe did this week?
Joe, I just rub my eyes because of you, okay? I am doing what Jess has told me not to do.
Here.
Yeah, give me some sanitizer.
Here.
In a cute pink bottle. I feel like you sprayed my eye.
Sorry.
Okay, we're
Everyone.
being clean.
Yep.
Did you offer some to Dennis? Yeah, get some to Dennis.
Oh.
They were not fitting in my Rogue. And we really fell in love with the Subaru Ascent. And I liked it. You get the captain seat so you can get to the back easy, all this stuff.
Yep.
So I go on TrueCar last Saturday or Sunday. And when I type in because what I'm looking for, within 24 hours, 30 emails, 20 voicemails from car companies.
Oy.
I had already decided I was not going into any dealership without someone quoting me the price that I was looking for to get into this car. So one person emailed me. I emailed them back, and I said, full disclosure, I'm not coming in for any sort of a test drive or anything. This is what I'm looking for. So we went back and forth, 5 or 6 emails. I felt like I was actually talking to a person. On Monday, she says, I found what you're looking for this price. You have to put this down, though. Okay, I didn't want to, but all right, we could finagle that. And I tell you what, it was the easiest time I've ever had in a car dealership. My point is, do everything online. Go back and forth on email. Make them quote you at a price so that when you walk into the dealership, hey, this is what I was told. What's the situation? Now, there was a couple other things. They didn't take my lease because it wasn't worth it, whatever, so we have. But regardless, it was so much easier than any other time I've been in a car dealership where they're like, well, what are you looking to pay? No. Get all that done by email. It was so good, and I love my car, and it's wonderful.
Do you buy or lease cars?
I have leased for the last few years. This will be my last lease. The only reason I did it was it got me at the price point I was looking for. But it's with a Subaru too, meaning in 3 years when that lease is up, I'll just buy it out.
Yeah.
Because Subarus can last you a good amount of time, and I love. And not only that, because my wife owns a Subaru, they just sent us back a check for like $1,500 because I was like, awesome, which is going to pay off the remaining payments I have on the other car that they didn't take from me. So it works out well.
Yeah, that works.
All the way. So it was a good day.
Yeah.
It was a good day.
Sounds
That
like
was
it.
why I couldn't come in last week.
Oh,
I had to go
gotcha.
pick up the car. And literally 5 minutes before I'm walking out the door, they said, you can't pick it up today. I was like, I canceled things. I was like, you're killing me.
It's okay. I went to see my mom.
That was nice of you.
Saw my cats.
All right. So, Jess,
It was
in the
nice
last
to see
5
them.
minutes here, when we sit down next week,
Yes.
what's the biggest sports story in Philadelphia?
The Sixers are playing without fans. The Sixers and Flyers are playing without fans. The Flyers are the best.
How about non-corona?
The Flyers are the best they've been in 10 years and can't play in front of fans.
How about non-corona news?
The Flyers are the number 1 seed.
That's your news next week when we sit down.
They're in that number 1 spot.
Want to know what mine is?
What?
The Philadelphia Eagles have come to a contract agreement with Byron Jones.
Love it.
And the Philadelphia Eagles have come to a contract agreement with another player of merit. It doesn't have to be a big name like a Byron, but they will have 2 guys under agreement. I don't know if they'll both be defense or you're going to get one offensive guy, but I think 2 guys we'll be talking about next week as the next members of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Did you see Dak turn down that contract offer? $33 million a year for 105.
I know it can't happen because of money, but how awesome would it be if the Eagles took Amari and Byron from Dallas?
I
It would
love
be
the
so
fact
much
that
fun.
Carson was like, it seemed like a contract that worked well for both sides. It was a good deal for both sides. And Dak's like, no, give me my money. I'm garbage. It's hilarious.
So, Jess, what's the lasting thought you want to leave our viewers?
Dak sucks.
There it is. Dak sucks. All right, next week we'll be back. Free agency talk,
Woo.
Sixers talk, Flyers talk. Philly's getting closer. It's starting
So
to get
excited.
starting to get fun in this city, everybody. Thank you to the Painted Lines. Thank you to Dennis and DTV down here in Wilmington at Run This Town 13 at Philly_Madness. We'll be back next week. Until then, embrace the madness and stay healthy.
Stay healthy. Wash your hands. For the love of God, wash your hands.